Despite the fact that around 195,000 people are convicted and sent to prison each year, the United States justice system uses unreliable eyewitness testimonies in multiple of these cases, resulting in wrongful convictions. In one of these cases, Royal Clark Jr. was sentenced to 49 and a half years in prison for a crime he did not commit. During the 17 years while he was in prison, he missed watching his newborn son grow up.
How old was your son when you went in?
Man, my son was like a month.
A month old when you were incarcerated.
Taking care of him from the diapers to the clothes to the books, educating him, reading to him, explaining to him life.
You missed all of that.
I missed all of that.
After hours of research, I discovered that according to the Innocence Project, an organization dedicated to exonerating people wrongfully convicted, 69% of DNA exonerees were convicted because of eyewitness misidentification. One main reason is memory. In a 1932 study, Frederick Bartlett showed students a Native American ghost story that had unexpected details. Later, he asked the students to remember what they had read. The remembered versions were different from the original. The students had shortened the story, changed unfamiliar details so that they were familiar, and paid more attention to the surprising details. According to psychologist Saul Necleoid of the University of Manchester, schemas are mental units of knowledge that correspond to frequently encountered people, objects, or situations. They allow us to make sense of what we encounter in order that we can predict what is going to happen and what we should do in any given situation. Schemas can change what a person perceives. If something is familiar to a person, they are more likely to highlight that part of the memory and disregard the rest. This is known as memory reconstruction. It can be seen in folk tales, recalling dreams, and even the game telephone. However, it becomes a big problem for eyewitnesses. Talking to another witness or even seeing a news story can affect a person's memory. The witness may change their memory so that it fits into their existing understanding and knowledge, which makes them unreliable. Memory can also be affected by outside variables. Imagine a person experiencing a robbery up close. There is screaming, it is dark, and they are a few yards away from the robber. The main focus of that person would be making it out of that situation alive. Therefore, they may remember details like the weapon, but they may not remember details like the height of the robber or if they had facial hair. According to psychologist Richard McNally of the Clinical Training McNally Laboratory, people who have experienced traumatic events tend to remember the most essential and frightening elements of the events in vivid detail for life. However, this doesn't mean that these memories include every detail of the event. The brain holds on to the most important stuff at the expense of the peripheral details. Therefore, eyewitness testimony may not be reliable because during the encounter, the witness's attention may not have been focused on the seemingly unimportant details. If the brain remembers details like the location, it may not remember the time. Some may argue that eyewitness testimony is important. However, there are many other ways to provide evidence in a trial. Also, it does not have to be fully removed from the court for there to be a change. Today, scientists are working to improve eyewitness testimonies through improved lineup techniques and studying factors at a crime scene that might affect a witness's memory. In 2020, DNA testing helped Lydell Grant get released from prison after nearly 8 years. He was wrongfully identified by all 6 eyewitnesses. Overall, the use of eyewitness testimony needs to be changed in the court. A person's distorted memory should not be the deciding factor of a person's entire life. If you would like to help support those who have been wrongfully convicted, go to innocenceproject.org, where you can read about real-life cases, donate, and sign petitions.